I must say I'm intimidated by the last speaker, so I'm going to try to make this, but you've probably seen the best part of your program today. This is a momentous day for all of you. I'm excited to be your commencement ceremony speaker. Congratulations. I was honored when President Hawkins asked me to address all of you. She asked me to talk a bit about my journey, the work we do at the Nebraska Community Foundation, and any lessons that might be applicable to you. I've named this address Make It Count, and I hope these comments have some value to you. For many of you, this is a hard-fought and well-deserved victory. Maybe you're a non-traditional student who has achieved your degree while working, caring for loved ones, and juggling the complexities of adulting. Maybe you're one of the first in your family to graduate from college, and maybe this day seemed like it would never come. But here you are. Congratulations. My mother-in-law went back to school in her 40s and got her bachelor's degree. Some of the words she used to describe her adult educational journey to me were easier because of her life experiences, harder because of family and work obligations, joyful as in the joy of learning, urgent as in I've got to get this done, and a feeling of accomplishment and self-worth. I bet those words resonate with you as well. I also talked with my own kids about this address and what would be helpful from their perspective for me to share. They're 25, 22, and 18, and they're in graduate school, undergraduate, and high school respectively. I'm immensely proud of each of them. Here is some of their counsel to me. Commencement is a beginning, not an end. So commence a new chapter of your life. Share specific ways to learn outside of school, and keep learning. Don't do any awkward crowd participation activities, so you can thank them for not having to participate in a group Macarena performance today. It's impressive to graduate from college. It's more impressive to graduate from college as a non-traditional student. It's really impressive to graduate from college as a non-traditional student given the chaos of the past few years. Acknowledge the COVID pandemic, how hard it was, and that we're still dealing with it, and be brief. I'm a big fan of finding the work you love and then leaning into it. I know you've all heard that before, but I really think it's true. Earlier this month, I celebrated 25 years of employment with the Nebraska Community Foundation. When I joined NCF, I was the first full-time employee and we had about 2 months of cash flow. In 1998, I was 29 years old. We just had our first child. I didn't know all I thought I knew. Thank goodness my wife had a good job. Trained as an economist, I'd spent 4 years working for the governor, but I knew I didn't want to make a career out of politics. That world is too win-lose for me. I did know I wanted to make a difference in people's lives in Nebraska. As a high school kid, I had multiple micro-enterprises on our family farm. I used the equity from those ventures to help pay for college. Horses, milk cows, all sorts of different birds. For example, I found I could get a premium of 25 cents a dozen if I sold brown eggs in 3x4 cartons, and I could get even more of a premium for duck eggs. I tried lots and lots of experiments that didn't work. It was all about learning. After college, I did economics and political consulting, so I had a decent sense of the risk I was taking joining a nonprofit startup. I'm hardwired to be a builder, so this new adventure was exactly what I'd signed up for, but I knew it wasn't going to be easy. Thankfully, I was lucky to be surrounded by amazing people who cared for me and my family and thought I might have the potential to do some good things. The stars were as aligned as they could have been given what we knew, and honestly, all we didn't know. The Nebraska Community Foundation works with 275 communities in nearly every Nebraska county. NCF partners with community leaders to help them build and sustain their hometown. We're a community economic development organization that uses philanthropy as a tool. We partner with over 1,500 volunteers to help them enhance the quality of life, create new economic opportunity, and improve the narrative about the future of their hometown. We help them create the kinds of places that bright, ambitious people people like you want to live in. Our work is community-centric, focused on the unique assets of those places and practiced in a spirit of with. Communities, just like people, can only be built from the inside out. I can't develop a community any more than I can develop any one of you. Development is a personal choice. You decided to learn, grow, and evolve. That choice got you here today. The same applies for any neighborhood or town. Communities can only be built and sustained by those who live and work there. All anyone from the outside can do is help. Therefore, our work at NCF is not done to anyone or for anyone. Our work is with our community partners. We seek to co-produce the community building work so we can all co-own the outcomes. Hopefully, this is a philosophy you can carry with you in your careers and community work. Our community building practice is proving to be very successful. Dozens of Nebraska hometowns are rewriting their narrative and accomplishing phenomenal work. Here are just a few examples. Red Cloud and Albion now have world-class early childhood development centers. Imperial and Columbus are working hard to become more welcoming and create a greater sense of belonging. Playgrounds that enable kids of all abilities to play together have been built in Norfolk and Sydney. Walt Hill has a new skate park. Nebraska City awards non-traditional scholarships to working adults. High school students in McCook raise money for a drive-in movie theater. And many, many Native American students are receiving scholarships to attend college. Last year, communities in the NCF network collectively reinvested $40 million in their people and hometowns. Additionally, dozens and dozens of Nebraska hometowns now have endowments that will help fund their community building work in perpetuity. These endowments, which are all locally controlled, now total $140 million, triple what they were 10 years ago. All of this good work and so much more is changing the narrative in these communities to be more positive and opportunistic. We're helping communities to have a more positive, self-fulfilling prophecy, and these investments, along with the positive narrative, are helping community leaders to attract stayers, returners, and newcomers to be in community with them. Nebraska Community Foundation has a statewide board of directors. One of the 19 board members is Nicole Sedlacek of O'Neill, who is the Economic Development Manager for Nebraska Public Power District, a small business owner in O'Neill, mother of 2 teenagers, and a proud graduate of Bellevue University. Nicole is a force for good. One of her passions is unleashing the potential of others. Nicole first got involved with the NCF network in high school through her affiliated fund in her hometown of Spencer. After high school, she received an associate's degree from Northeast Community College in Norfolk in journalism, and went on to work for the local radio station in O'Neill. A few years later, she became the first director of Holt County Economic Development. Years later, she realized she wanted to have a bachelor's degree so she could progress further professionally and feed her curiosity. In 2018, Nicole graduated from Bellevue with her bachelor's in management. Nicole fondly remembers the fast-paced coursework and how the on-demand information coupled with reading and discussion boards broadened her perspective and provided new insights into the business world. She also talks about how her education at Bellevue gave her the confidence to move into small business. Nicole and her teenage daughters operate Joy Boutique in O'Neill, which offers clothes for women, children, and infants. Nicole is a consummate Nebraskan, smart, kind, hardworking, team-oriented, and seeking fairness and opportunity for everyone. There are so many lessons I'd like to share with all of you. I've narrowed the list to a handful I think are most important. First, we're all standing on someone else's shoulders. Be grateful to those who blazed the trail for us, taught us enduring lessons, loved us when we were unlovable, and comforted us in a time of need. I don't believe in the self-made man. We're all who we are because we've believed and invested in ourselves, benefited from the many who came before us. We're lucky enough to have options to keep striving. Be grateful to those who came before you and who've helped you along the way. Have empathy. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. What amazing advice. Don't confuse empathy with sympathy. Empathy is trying to better understand another person, their circumstances, and their perspective. I don't know your circumstances or what it's like to walk in your shoes. In this world, there are many truths and many perspectives, so I counsel myself to not judge too quickly or harshly. I remind myself to ask, what do you think, more often? Be empathetic and grace-filled as you go through this life. Know your core values. Know what you believe in. Here are mine: abundance, opportunity, patience, courage, diversity, learning, welcoming, belonging, tenacity, evolution, trust, forgiveness, and most importantly, love. Knowing your core values, especially before you need them, is enormously helpful in determining which fork in the road to take. Relationships matter. A phrase we use frequently in my work is change happens along the lines of relationships at the speed of trust. Change is inevitable. Change is happening every moment. To create the positive change we seek, it must happen through relationships. The change must be discussed, understood, curated, and we must adapt along the way. Connect, connect, connect. Positive change happens along the lines of relationships. Power is infinite. Power is a word we don't talk about much, but we should. Frequently, stories and circumstances are presented to us as win or lose, good or bad. For all of us that have been adulting for a while, we know that isn't always true. We know there are many shades of gray. I'm interested in empowering people to do more and do better. When I share my knowledge and experience with someone, I've empowered them with new information and perspectives. They become more powerful. In the process, did I lose power? I don't think so. I think we created new power in the universe. Power is infinite. Much of the news you read and the rhetoric you hear is framed as if power can only be taken, not created. Don't fall for it. Through education and relationships, we're creating new power every day. Become part of something that is bigger than yourself. Volunteer, give back, pay it forward. We all do better when we all do better. Finally, keep learning, keep growing, keep going. Lifelong learning is good for all of us. It keeps us young and fresh. Learning keeps our synapses firing. Be open to what's possible. Be open to different perspectives. Be open to learning something new. Each of you has done something amazing. Be proud of yourself and what you've accomplished. I encourage you to think about that every day and smile. My son is absolutely correct, and I want to reiterate what he said to me. It's impressive to graduate from college. It's more impressive to graduate from college as a non-traditional student. It's really impressive to graduate from college as a non-traditional student, given the chaos of the past few years. Congratulations. Your future is bright and full of possibilities. Commence and make it count.